new watch, new babe.
Oh yeah, my bad. What's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So listen, man, we back with part 2 of the top 10 people who outlived insane prison sentences, bro. You know what I mean? Some was rightfully accused, some was wrongfully accused. But nonetheless, they all outlived these crazy numbers, 64 years, almost 70 years. Like, just insane, you know what I mean? And as we found out, some of them, like, couldn't take it. When they made it out, they went right back in. They just couldn't take the outside world, man. It's complicated for them, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to jump right back into this marathon. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let's go.
In the next one. How's it going, YouTube? I'm Landon, and this is the top 10 people who outlived insane prison sentences, part 3. And also, please let me know if you like this series. If you guys want a part 4 as well, put hashtag part 4, please, and I'll make it if there's enough demand. And also, hit the like button if you like this channel. Okay, let's not waste any more time here. Let's get right into it. Let's use a get out of jail card at number 10. We're starting off with a wild story about
Rene
Lima, who was sentenced to 98 years in prison back in 1998 for a robbery while using a gun. The gun was actually not loaded and no one was hurt, but for some reason he was sent.
Wait a minute. Did y'all hear that too? Hold on. Did they say he got sentenced to how many years?
Lima, who was sentenced to 98 years in
98 years. 98 years, bro. Just at that point, don't y'all just think they should just go ahead and just give him the death penalty? Or you know what I'm saying? Like, or just say the rest of your life. Instead of just giving a number, just say the rest of your life, meaning you'll never get out, no parole, no nothing. Just say that. Crazy.
Prison back in 1998 for a robbery while using a gun. The gun was actually not loaded and no one was hurt, but for some reason he was sentenced harshly to 98 years in prison. Lima was 19 years old at the time. Well, it was a shock when after just 10 years in 2008, Lima was released from prison. 6 years after being released, a former prosecutor realized that Lima was released from prison by mistake. So he was sent back where he was sentenced, he was resentenced. During the time he was out of jail, Lima was able to turn his life around. He got a job. He even got married. Lima has been in prison ever since that incident, and this has become a really high-profile case, and it leaves us with a lot of questions. Well, this guy has now served a total of 19 years. He served his time. He didn't hurt anyone. He didn't even have bullets in his gun. There was no intent there. And when he was released, he showed that he has changed his life around, so why keep him in prison? What do you guys think about this whole thing?
Our system is broken, bro. Clearly. First of all, let's unpack this, right? I'm completely, yes, he did a crime. Yes, he should be punished. That's not even what we're debating. You know what I'm saying? He should be punished for the crime he committed. So however many years that was, you know, then you release him. It's not his fault. You messed up, you released him, you go back and get him, and he comes back and serves more years, right? For a robbery, what's the sentence for a robbery? What y'all think? 5 to 10? Depending on what type of robbery, what he did with the gun, depending on the whole situation. He ain't really give us a breakdown. But 98 years, first and foremost, I think that's a bit excessive. You know what I mean? I'm all for if you do the crime, as cliche as it sounds, you do the crime, you do the time. But it should be justified, is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? It should be justified. And when you look at this man right here, you gotta ask yourself, does he deserve a second chance? I think he does, barring he don't get any trouble in prison while he's in there. And he shows signs that he's rehabilitated. That's supposed to be the main goal, rehabilitation.
The public is now behind this man, so he's probably going to be released very, very soon. Number 9, we have Eddie Bolden, and he's from Chicago. He served 22 years behind bars for a double murder charge. Back in 1994, Eddie was convicted.
Wait, Do y'all not see the like from the last one to this one? Armed robbery. No one dies, no bullets in the gun, but it is an armed robbery, right? 98 years. Double murder, 22 years, I think they said. Is the system not broken? Come on, man. I'm just asking. The math not adding up.
Convicted base 2 years behind bars for a double murder charge. Back in 1994, Eddie was convicted based on the testimony of a single eyewitness. Something doesn't seem right there. There were 3 other people who actually placed him at a different location at the time of the murders, but those witnesses never testified. Eddie spent the next few decades in the prison's law library studying his case because he knows he is innocent. His family believed his innocence as well. When Eddie went to prison, he left behind a family and his 1-year-old son. It took 22 years in prison for him to finally be innocent of the crime he was wrongfully convicted of. Eddie's life was just stripped. Eddie kept fighting hard, and he was able to outlive his sentence and prove his innocence. The police should now be worried about a murderer who's been on the loose for the past 22 years. Coming out of prison at number 8, we have Kevin Charles Siegel, who served 25 years behind bars. Kevin was convicted of killing his wife back in 1991. She was found stabbed to death in her apartment. She was stabbed more than 20 times and was left in a bathtub with the water running in an effort to wash away the evidence. Kevin was the prime suspect and he was arrested and he was charged, but he is always...
Wait, what? She was left in a bathtub with the water running to wash away the evidence? I'm gonna just let that one go. There's nothing you can say about that one. Whew.
Maintain his innocence and gone as far as to file numerous appeals since his convictions. Kevin was convicted based off of blood that was found on his personal items in the bathroom, and even on his right shoe there was blood found as well. Well, his right shoe was finally tested and it appeared the blood on the shoe was actually his own. Kevin is now in his 60s and he was granted a motion from the state attorney general's office to reopen the case, and the case was quickly overturned. The general's office chosen to abandon the case and ordered his release. He now has the opportunity to live out the rest of his life as normal as he can in society. 2 of Kevin's brothers were in the courtroom when he was released. They were brought to tears. It wasn't proven that Kevin was the killer, but this case just seemed to be dropped.
So who came up with the whole left the body in the tub with the water running to wash away the evidence? Who came up with that obnoxious story? It had to be a cop that just did that to pin the evidence on him. Like, oh my God, bro, thank gosh. Thank God. I was born in this day and age, fam. And this day and age ain't that much better, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? But man,
Maybe there was too much legal fees, or maybe there was too much embarrassment for the lack of investigation into this case. Moving into number 7, we have Clarence Moses, who was a Colorado man who was convicted of rape back in 1987. He was convicted of raping his neighbor. Clarence was sentenced to 48 years behind bars, but he only served 28 years. Now, this is where the story gets really crazy. Back during the trial, the victim told the police that she has been drinking with neighbors before she returned home, and that was the moment where she was brutally raped twice. When police initially asked her who the attacker was, she actually named 3 different men on who it could be. It could be A, B, or C. The next day, she claimed to have a dream of who the victim was. She went to the police. She says it was this guy, Clarence Moses. He was the attacker. And that was the day Clarence's life changed forever.
Are you kidding? A dream got me arrested? A dream? Come on, man. Like, seriously, who we got running? Oh, my God. A dream got me arrested, bro. That's what I would be saying every day. A guard walked past my cell. Yo. Hey, guard, where you going? What do you want today? Hey, man, I just wanted to let you know a dream got me arrested. See you later. See you tomorrow. Same time. Every single time somebody walked past my cell. Hey. You know a dream got me arrested, right? For real.
Over the next years, he maintained his innocence, and Clarence tried to appeal his conviction, but it was unsuccessful. However, in the 90s, he won a legal bid for a DNA testing on the evidence to clear his name, but police actually mistakenly destroyed the evidence. I mean, is this real life right now? How do you accidentally destroy evidence? Because of the lost evidence, he wasn't released yet. Clarence's big break was actually years later, 2012, 28 years after he was sentenced. The actual victim wrote him a letter admitting he was actually the one who had sex with her that night. I mean, what a sick story. Why let a guy serve 28 years for your wrongdoing and then you write him a letter in prison much later? Now at number 6, we have Glen, who was wrongfully convicted for murder, and he served 30 years because of it. So Glen was released, and to say, sorry for the mistake, he was given a $30 gift card. I mean, is this real life right now? This is just so disrespectful. $30? Well, luckily under the Louisiana law, where he was in prison, he's actually entitled to a lot more. Well, $400,000 worth in compensation for the time he spent in solitary.
I need to get out this country, bro. They did not just say, they gave fam a $30 gift card, bro. $30? That don't even get you like a full meal, a full good meal at somewhere like an Outback or a Longhorn or something like that. You can't get the drink. You can get the steak, which run you about 20 something, then the side, then the drink gonna run you, and then gratuity and everything. Yeah, you can't get the full meal, bro, at all. They gave fam $30 gift card, bro. I hate this place.
Confinement at a notorious maximum security facility. This is still not enough money in my opinion. You should be entitled to millions of dollars because for the past 30 years, this man was on death row with very limited privileges in prison. This story made big headline news and—
Oh, I get it. 30 years, $30 gift card. It's the new math. That's what we not doing the new math. It's new math that's out there.
Glen was interviewed on 60 Minutes. Moving into number 5, we have Lawrence McKinney, who is from Tennessee. He was released from prison back in 2009 after DNA evidence ruled him out as a suspect. It's just too bad that they couldn't rule this out, 31 years ago when he was sentenced. This is absolutely insane. It took investigators, police officers, judges, jury members 31 years.
Why he look like R. Kelly daddy? Don't he look like R. Kelly dad? Look from afar. Let me see if it back it up. Bro, he look like R. Kelly daddy. I found him. This the dude responsible for the Predator. I found him.
It took investigators, police officers, judges, jury members 31 years to figure out that Lawrence is an innocent man. Right now, Lawrence is fighting for an exoneration case that could grant him $1 million in compensation. So far, he's been denied twice. Lawrence was convicted of rape and burglary back in 1978, and he was sentenced to prison for 115 years. Just imagine that day when he was sentenced. I mean, an innocent person, you just found out, you just been sentenced for 115 years. When Lawrence was finally released from jail, he was issued $75. I mean, what the heck is he gonna do with that? Hopefully he uses that money to make a ton of phone calls to the right people. A man who served 35 years in prison without a trial strangely comes into this list at number 4. It just doesn't make sense. We're talking about Jerry Hartfield, whose case was very extraordinary. When Jerry was released from prison, he was one of the most unlikely prisoners ever to be freed in Texas. Jerry wasn't exonerated. He wasn't even released on parole. He didn't even finish up his sentence because there really wasn't a sentence for this man. Let me explain. Texas actually just gave up on this case and allowed Jerry to be a free man, which makes absolutely no sense to me. When I was researching this, I took a deep dive onto this one. Jerry was waiting 35 years between trials without a conviction. He was simply just forgotten about in the system. This does happen, and I'm thinking I might make a top 10 video of like top 10 prisoners who were just forgotten about in prison for decades. Let me know if that's a good idea. Well, Jerry was put into prison because of a murder, but there was no evidence that like this was the guy. He was just sentenced to prison. He could have been the guy. The length of the prison stay wasn't announced. In fact, he was supposed to get a new trial in 1980 after an appeals court reversed his conviction and death sentence because of a flaw during the jury selection. But now he's out due to a fellow prisoner and a public defender who discovered a huge mistake 35 years later. Alright, just like that, number 3, we have a man who's been in prison for 41 years and he becomes the first Detroit juvenile lifer to get a second life. This right here is William Washington, and back in 1975, when he was just 17 years old, he decided to rob a record store along with 26-year-old Kenneth Rooker. There was a scuffle with the store owner, and this resulted in the store owner being shot to death. Because of this, William received a life without parole sentence for first-degree murder, as well as a second life sentence for armed robbery. Well, 41 years later, he was given a second chance at life. Okay, I want to turn this question to you guys. Let me ask you, what do you guys think about juveniles who commit a horrible crime? Should they have a second chance at life? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Number 2,
I don't know, that has to all be, it's all got to be case by case basis. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the crime that was committed. I agree, certain people do deserve second chances, you know? But some people, you know, that's why I say it got to be a case by case basis for me.
just like number 3, we have another teen killer who has been released. This person was released in Spring Garden Township, which is located in Pennsylvania. We're talking about Scott Griffin, who was found guilty of first-degree murder for fatally shooting his ex-girlfriend, 17-year-old Linda Hagen. And this was back in 1974. Scott was only 16 years old at the time. Scott was serving a mandatory life sentence for the murder, but now he has been paroled. This actually makes him the first juvenile lifer from York County to be released from prison since a significant ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court. Back in 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court rules that it is unconstitutional to impose automatic life sentences for those who commit crimes before turning 18 years old. So this is when Scott was released after 43 years behind bars. He was able to outlive his insane life sentence. Now he's in his 70s and there isn't much to life that he's able to do. And finally, at number 1, we have Joseph Liggett. Joseph has been behind bars since he was 16 years old back in the 60s. That's about 11 presidents ago. The first person has been to space. Joseph is 79 years old, which makes him the oldest living juvenile offender, and also he has served the longest sentence of any other juvenile offender. That's for sure a record that you don't want to beat. At 16 years old, Joseph took part in a murder of 2 men in Philadelphia. He was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Well, because the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision that deemed the mandatory life sentence for juvenile offenders unconstitutional, this means Joseph now has a chance to be released from prison anytime now. Well, actually, he was already given the chance to be placed on parole immediately, but he declined. The reason why is because he doesn't want to be paroled and just be placed on probation. He wants to serve out his time and just be released as a free man. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you.
I've heard a lot of people say that. You know what I'm saying? Because they was like, parole is just, and probation is just as bad, man. Because they say you can't have no type of interaction, meaning the slightest thing. And it could possibly be not be your fault. You might be with a crew of people, something happened, and you was just there by mistake. That's an interaction, violates your probation. You finishing off the rest of that sentence. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, bro. I get that.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. How's it going, YouTube? I'm Landon, and what?
Hold on, where we at? We 18 minutes on this one video, bro. We'll do a part 3, man. I'm not finna do that to y'all like that, bro. I ain't even finna sit through another one of these. You know what I'm saying? But they are interesting and dope, man. Just hearing these stories, man. Because if somebody don't bring them to the forefront, then you'll never hear about them and hear how our system is broken and needs some serious help. It needs to be fixed, man. You know what I'm saying? So these are dope in so many different ways and layered. You know what I'm saying? But it's your boy L, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. So till the next reaction of my piece, y'all stay solid. Hey.